What's going on, guys? This is BYSSTED and welcome to my Blue Eyes deck profile. This deck is really fun, and even though it did lose Needle Fiber and, the ability to summon Baron on the opponent's turn from the most recent ban list, it's still a really viable deck because you can now play the BYSSTED monsters, which are not only hand traps but also extenders, and they help out the deck a lot because, of course, they're level 6, they're dragons. You can make Hieratic Dragon King of a Tub. This card is fantastic. And instead of playing, a bunch of board breakers and bad cards that don't really help the consistency of Blue Eyes, we now have a bunch of cards that inherently synergize with the deck and actually give it a lot of consistency. So I want to say this is probably one of the best versions of Blue Eyes I've seen in a while. And I want to say moving forward, this is probably going to be the play in like pretty much any given format, but especially this format where the BYSSTED monsters are just so insanely good against tier elements. So would I play this deck at a YCS? Most likely not, unless my only goal is to have fun. But would I play this deck at locals and maybe regionals? Absolutely 100% recommend it. You will have not only just a lot of fun, but also you might do well with this deck because it is extremely teched out to beat tier elements. Anyways, before this deck profile starts, make sure you like and subscribe. Check me out on Twitch and Instagram. If this video can get to 1,000 likes, I will be making a live stream on this deck. Now let's get right into it. Alright, so for the Blue Eyes monsters, I'm on double Blue Eyes White Dragon with Chaos Emperor Dragon, Alternative Dragon, Blue Eyes Dread Dragon, and to be honest, I actually think I'm gonna cut Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon from the deck because it actually got way harder to get the White Stone of Ancients in the grave. So I might cut this in favor of, let's say, a second copy of Druid Worm. I do believe that you want to max out on your BYSSTED monsters almost. There might be a world in which playing 3 of every single one of them could make sense. Right now, I'm still a little iffy on it, but maybe if I can find space by cutting the Seifert and the White Stone of Ancients. But I still want this deck to have a lot of options, so that's the reason why I'm playing, these ratios. And of course, the Blue Eyes monsters that are here are kind of like necessities. So the Jet is just like a really good card in the grave. Kind of recurs itself back like infinitely, so it's nice in the grind game. Can also bounce back cards. I really like the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Now, the Chaos Dragon Levinier and the Armageddon, they kind of like are very similar. You can search them with the Melody of Awakening Dragon. And they're all boss monsters. The Chaos Emperor allowing you to recycle back your banished BYSSTED monsters, even better. And another really good reason to play Blue Eyes Jet Dragon is that when you destroy the Armageddon, it doesn't go to the grave. It goes to the extra deck. And because of the fact that it's destroyed, the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon revives itself back. So that's actually really nasty. So this card is just incredibly good. And if you link it off, instead of using it as an Xyz material, it goes back to the bottom of the deck so that you can search it again with Melody of Awakening Dragon. So you can technically loop this card multiple times. Anyways, one Alternative Dragon is way more than enough, and then one Levinier. By the way, there is no Nebula Dragon in this version. I actually wanted to cut it because if you go for, if you have Nebula and you want to summon your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon ASAP, unfortunately, you will not be able to use Nebula because it summons 2 monsters simultaneously, and Spirit Dragon does lock you under not being able to do that. It's not just against your opponent, it's also against yourself. So if you play Nebula, there is a little bit of anti-synergy. And yeah, I want to say this is probably just optimal for these ratios. And then triple Lubellion so that you can search your BYSSTED monsters. Also activates your rebranded and branded beast. 1 Destrudo so that you can make Phaedon Dragster or Hieratic Seal very, very easily. Double Druid Worm, double Saronir, and triple Magnamut. Again, I'm very open to maybe playing triple Druid Worm and triple Saronir if you really want to be teched out to beat very specifically tier elements. But if you still want to beat the other decks, I want to say this is probably good enough. And then 1 of each of the baby dragons and then 1 Seifert. You can easily summon this with Hieratic Dragon King of a Tub. And it's still a 1 card Hieratic Seal, so it's not too bad. Triple Tyrant of D combos very well with Sage of Eyes of Blue. It actually makes like a somewhat of a little 2-card combo. It's not huge, it's not that explosive anymore because it used to be like so much better when we had Needle Fiber. But being like a baby Magician Souls is still something that we can all appreciate. And then 1 White Stone of Ancients, which again got worse because you can no longer summon it off of Needle Fiber. 1 White Stone of Legend, still decent because you can search it off of Sage, and then discard it off of a Melody of Awakening Dragon. Triple Sage, no peer erase map, there's no reason to play that card. Or like Where Art Thou, or like 1 for 1. These cards just don't really get you that much started. 1 Effect Veiler because you can search it with Sage of Eyes of Blue. No Ash, no Nibiru, no whatever. I mean, you could play them, but I don't really think they're that needed. Anyways, triple Melody of Awakening Dragon, obviously, triple Pot of Prosperity. So this card pretty much ensures that you can at least do something, because even if your hand is like, usually you're always like 1 good card away from being able to do something. So if you can banish 6 cards, you can ensure that you get your missing piece for the combo. And that way you can unbrick like out of nowhere. So this card actually really helps a lot. And if you draw like duplicates, then you can discard like the surplus copies with like Melody. So it's really not an issue. And I didn't want to play like Trade-In because Trade-In is only really good if you play a lot of level 8 monsters, which will make your deck way more inconsistent. and I absolutely don't recommend that. Same thing with like Allure of Darkness with the Bisted monsters. I really don't think it makes any sense. So yeah, don't play Trade-In or Allure. And then Triple Chaos Space, this card is fantastic. It searches you even your Lubellion, or your Levinier, or your Armageddon, or your Baby Dragon. So it just does so much, and it also makes you draw one card. So the draw one does conflict with Prosperity, but it's not the end of the world. And then the Rebranded, you usually are not trying to activate this with the effect of Lubellion. You're rather trying to send this to the graveyard from the deck to the grave with a Bisted Sarunier's effect, so that the Lubellion can activate the Branded Beast, and then on the end phase, you activate the Rebranded from the graveyard to the Spell and Trap Zone with this card. It's actually really, really nasty. So that's it for the extra deck. Only 40 cards, really not trying to break by playing like 60 or something. That would make no sense. And then for the extra decks, Shen, of course, Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. Really good card to tag out with a Blue Eye Spirit Dragon so that you can pretty much OTK follow-up. And then, of course, the Moonlight Dragon, the 1 Spirit Dragon, the 1 Dragster because of this Trudeau. And for the Xyz monsters, 1 Zeus, 1 Harbinger, and 1 Hieratic Dragon King of Atom. You can also play Dean Girsu and the Draglubion package to OTK your opponent with Numeron Dragon. For the Link monsters, 1 Appaloosa, 1 Unicorn because of Masquerena. So Masquerena can actually, summon these 2 monsters. And then Dark, because the Bisted monsters with Dark is just like really, really insane. Like you can revive back your opponent's Bisted monsters and actually get your engine going with Dark. So it's a really cool card. And of course, double Hieratic Seal with Striker Dragon. So Hieratic Seal, sometimes you summon it just so that you can tribute summon on top of it, and then use its effect to summon any dragon monster from the deck. And then at the very end, you make another Hieratic Seal, so you still have your interruption on the board. Again, without Needle Fiber, this deck changed drastically. So yeah, 15 cards in the extra deck, and now for the idea section real quick, because I think the majority of these cards are very self-explanatory. So a second alternative if you really want to, but this deck is not, it's not really like 2016 Blue Eyes. It evolved a lot, so you don't really need like 3 alternative, 3 trade-in, 3 cards of consonants, etc. So yeah, I don't really like too many copies of this card. Can definitely brick. A Spirit Dragon, another, Dragon Spirit of White, rather. It's not really a Blue Eyes monster, even though it's always treated as a Blue Eyes card. But yeah, it's just the name is different. And also the stats, 2500 attack and 2000 defense. That's like Dark Magician stats, huh? Anyways, the Blue Eye Spirit, Heart Earth, Zombiestein is actually not a card that you can summon easily now, because Lubellion is a level 8 light, unfortunately. If it was a dark, then Zombiestein probably would have been in an extra deck. It's just another, like, Omni-Negate, kind of. But again, Mystic Mine is not really a card that you should be afraid of, and either way, Zombiestein doesn't actually negate Mystic Mine. It only negates it until the end of the turn, which doesn't actually deal with a threat. But fortunately, you do have Branded Beast to deal with it, so it's really not an issue. Now, of course, Draglubion with Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, Din Girsu Numeron Dragon. I'll explain all those cards. Return of the Dragon Lords if you want more extenders, but I don't really recommend it because it's an extender but not a starter. And the issue with the deck is breaking and not being able to get your stuff going. Once you do get your stuff going, this deck is very nice. It can do a lot, but yeah, you really have to focus on consistency and your initial start. Really. Arby's Feather Duster, cards of consonants. Vision with Eyes of Blue. I actually tested a few combos with this card. It got worse again because of Needle Fiber getting banned, but we used to be able to go like Needle Fiber summon Ash and then bounce it back with this card, so you could actually do some nice plays, but no longer really playable. And then Summon Limit and Scale Drain, which you could actually main deck. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.